Hello everybody. All right, I'm on a project here with an experiment. As you can see, my shed is, if you look down there, it's not all the way complete, but I got it to a point to where it accomplished what I needed it to, and that is to work as a storage area. But what I wanted to show you today is I wanted you to look at what I'm going to be doing here, or at least attempting to do. Okay, so I've been looking at a lot about this log cabin. I've been staying temporarily in. As you can see, I got a couple of campers here, and I've learned a lot since January. I've been kind of off the grid inside one of these campers, just learning the basics on how to live without depending on electricity and all of those type things. So what I'm doing here today is I am going to go ahead and try. I cut this tree down a few minutes ago. It's a pretty good tree. It's about 14 inches in diameter. So if you look here, I kind of measured it, and before you start getting to the where the branches come out, that's where I cut it. I was told by a elderly gentleman who's been doing this for a long time that you don't want to use the wood that grows above the first branches. So I stopped there, and I got roughly 30 feet out of here. So I'm thinking about doing a structure that's somewhere in the vicinity of either 10 by 16 or 12 by 16, more likely, which is a lot wider than the dimensions of an RV. I think your average camper is about 8 feet wide, at least the ones that I've been staying in. So I'm going to create something that is a bit wider than that to maybe compensate for the shorter length. So 16 feet would probably do me pretty well. I think I've been staying in one that's roughly 20, maybe 22 feet. And so 16 would be well with the additional 4 inches width. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm going to set this log onto this smaller rotted out log, but it could still hold some weight. And I'm going to do the same down there. And what I'm going to do is hew these out. Hewing, I guess that's what they call it, H-E-W-N or H-E-W. I'm going to take and make, I think I can get probably a 9. It looks like I can get an 8 to 9 inch piece of lumber out of here. And I'm going to keep the tops as it is, and I'm just going to work with shaving off the width. So I'm going to get 2 of those out of there, maybe a 16 and a 12 foot piece. It doesn't taper off much towards the end, so the width is pretty consistent. It's a little smaller towards the end, but I should still be able to get 8 inches out of there. So it's 14 here, and I should be able to take off maybe a couple inches on each side and get me a nice round or square timber, so piece of lumber. So I'll do that, and basically I'll stack these until I get roughly 8 feet high. If I do them at 6 inches, it takes me roughly, I think, 48 trees in order to get me 8 foot ceilings. So hopefully by doing a little wider, I think I have some larger trees on the property that I could use. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and try to get my 8 foot ceilings, and we'll start this. So I'm going to be using, I don't have a broad axe, so I'm actually going to be using something probably smaller than that, just to see how hard it is for me to get those perfect squares, or close to perfect. And I'm going to use that, and I'll update you on the process when I start this. There's a couple of tools that I need to make this a little easier. Of course, I use a chainsaw to cut the tree down. They don't need going that far back. If I can get it done quicker by taking this off, I can get to the more important task, and that is making some doggone lumber out of these. So once I do that, I'll get a log roller, because I can't even move this with my foot. So 2 guys wouldn't be able to move this, and it's pretty heavy. I mean, you're talking probably over 1,000 pounds. So I'll get a log roller, and that way I can go ahead and roll it and move it on here, and then I'll go ahead and update you guys on the next step. But I wanted to show you this just real quickly. If you look here, this is the beginning process of how to actually, from what I've researched and watched, how to start prep work to go ahead and get you some nice size lumber out of the trees. So here you go. Say hi. Sit. Good boy. Say hi. Nice. All right, I'll keep you posted. I'm sure this is going to be pretty exciting. I'm going back to the old English method of doing it. So these won't be round. They're going to be blocked and kind of the top left as it is, and we'll go from there. Okay, if you look at what I did, I took about 2 inches from here and got my mark, and 2 inches from here. And this is going to be the actual size of the actual timber. So I'm going to get a log out of here, or rather a piece of lumber that's about, now it looks uneven. It's because of the way the wood is shaped. This is actually square. We're about 9 1/8 here and 9 1/8 there. And so I cut that out, and in order to make my line, what I did is I used my chalk, as you can see, and I tied it up to this mark right here. I pinned it with a nail on that edge, and I followed all the way down. I skinned it. I removed the bark so that the line could show up. And as you can see, I came here and I did the same thing. Being that this end is smaller, I wasn't able to get as much out of it, but I pushed it to the limit, and I should be able to get a square out of here. Now if you look at it right there, it looks more square. Okay, there you can see it. I was at an angle, that's why it looked oblong. But now that line is running all the way down. So this here, it gets smaller as it goes down to the end, but I was able to push it right to the edge, and I should be able to get about the same size out of here as I did down there. And that resulted in me having to cut this end off. Now on this end, I'll probably be able to get a 7 to an 8 inch size piece of lumber out of this one. And you see I got 2 distinct ones. This was one tree, and I think this was about, I removed that. That's no good. I was told again to stop where the actual branches start, so I cut it off there. And that deals with warping and all that kind of stuff. And so if you go all the way down here, you got 1 here. And so I got 2 out of here. And I'll probably need about 38 of these in order to complete the project that I'm going to do for the tiny log cabin. I'm going to do a log cabin, but instead of a tiny house with sticks, I'm going to attempt to build me a tiny log cabin with the logs that are actually on the property. So I'll flip this around after I'll do this side, and we'll go ahead and square this off. I'm going to dig into the lumber about a 1/2 inch with the axe. Ever 6 to 12 inches, I'll hit it with the axe. That way I can chisel it out and it'll pop out plank by plank, and that'll give me an actual square piece that I can you know, perfect or plane and to make it look pretty and square. But that's how you pretty much do this. You cut the tree down. You don't have to worry about drying them out. When they're set in place on the house, they'll dry out by themselves, and you won't get any kind of shrinkage once they're in place and locked. So, you know, it won't affect the actual structure. So I'll keep you informed, and that's what we have so far. Okay, if you look now, I ran a chalk line down each side, then I actually put an indentation with the chainsaw running all the way down on the left side of my mark here, as you can see. And then if you look on my right side of my mark, I did the same thing, running all the way down. There's an indentation so that these chunks can fall out. If you notice, I've hit an axe mark on the left and right side and created a dent equals the distance of my depth that I want to go. When I hit this from here, this piece will fly out, this piece, all the way down will pop out. And so this is what I have here. And now I'll simply take my axe here, and I'll start here by using my sledgehammer to go ahead and give me an indentation that cuts this first piece out, and then I'll just work my way down like this, and it's just going to slide them out, and that's going to create my actual piece of lumber that's 7 or 8 inches wide. So okay, Here's an update. As you can look, already started to form the actual timber out of here. So if you look closely, you'll see that. Now I want to take a pause too, even before I trace you down. If you look at the timber, it's squaring out, but I have limited tools. This is the only thing I'm using here, and it's a 2-pound axe, and it's not made for hewing. You normally need a broad axe and one side beveled, but if you notice, this is a double-sided axe, and so it's just not made for this. But I'm of the motto, you work with what you have, use what you have, and then once you get the right tools, you'll be able to get even better results. But if you look here, going all the way down, the top I'm going to leave round and remove the bark. And as you can see, this bad boy is sapping up. That's why you got the orange look. And on this side, I hadn't finished yet. The axe is actually dulling out, and But anyway, here you have it. And this will be a. Let's see. Here's a tape here. We're going down, 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 down. And I think I'm gonna cut it somewhere around here. So, no, that's 12. Let's see if we can get a, okay. We got a 16-foot mark here. And this will probably be better off at 12 since it tapers off here at the back. So it might be better just to go here and cut it. And once I'm finished here, I'll have a solid piece of lumber that will begin. See, look how straight it is. Now, this is using no type of guide or anything. It's just an old method that they used to use, and I've learned it from. This is my first one, by the way. They used to use this a lot, and it's how they built the old cabins. Once I get about I would say 7 or 8 of these stacked up, that will form my walls. So, you got 4 walls, and I'm looking to probably do something like a 12 by 16 or 12 by 20. And it won't take much to accomplish that. I got some pretty nice trees going on here that equal the diameter or size of this one. What I probably would have done differently is I would have left a little bit less on the top, the rounded part, and kind of cut in a little more, and I'll take that in consideration when I start. But I wanted you guys to just get an idea of how it was done back then and how you can square out your own tree without using anything but an axe. Of course, I use a chainsaw to cut it down. Okay, take care.